Welcome back to the Mrshowtym podcast. In this video, we're going to be discussing what influences a man's preferences when it comes to dating and or selecting a sexual mate, partner, right? So, I have found that one of the biggest and primal influences that that determines a man's preferences in terms of the type of woman a man chooses, it directly correlates to the type of relationship he has with his mother in his early childhood. Because, say for example, let's use girls for example. You've ever heard of the term daddy issues? Those are the type of women who had a bad experience and or a bad relationship with their fathers. Not only just their fathers, but with the men in their lives, their uncles, their brothers, older brothers, growing up. Because for girls, her father is the first masculine figure she experiences ever. And depending whether or not that relationship is sweet or sour, that will shape her perception of men pretty much for the rest of her life, her imprint towards men. Now, if she has a bad relationship, she's obviously going to become damaged and jaded towards men, aka daddy issues, right? And if she has a positive relationship with her father and the man in her immediate tribe, there'll be her elderly brothers if she has one, if she has some, and her uncles. That's why women tend to call on her brothers or uncles for security. Have you ever heard a girl talk about, oh, if my boyfriend does this, I'll call my older brothers to beat him up? That would mean that she trusts the men in her immediate tribe, her dad, her uncles, her brothers, right? That would mean that she has a positive relationship with the men in her tribe. Now, same goes for men, boys. A boy's preference when it comes to mate selection depends on the relationship, or mostly depends on the relationship he has with his mother, because his mother is the first woman, the first and only woman that loves him unconditionally, well, supposedly, unless of course you have a dysfunctional relationship with your mothers, and you know that's unfortunate. But generally speaking, a boy's mother is the first woman that offers her love and affection and support, unconditional love, as soon as he comes out of her womb. And assuming that relationship, transpires positively, that man will choose women that have the same traits as his mother. Let's say, for example, if his mother it can be something very trivial, something if his mother has a more of a pear-shaped figure as opposed to a slender or an hourglass figure. If his mother is nurturing and caring or is family orientated, that man will prefer women who have at least one or two of the same traits. Now, let's say in a scenario where the boy doesn't have much of a positive relationship with his mother. He has more of a dysfunctional, broken, negative relationship, sour relationship with his mother. That boy will cognitively and consciously and or subconsciously say to himself, I do not want that type of woman because look at how she's treating me bad. I will look for a different type of woman. It can even transcribe as far as women of other racial, ethnic groups. For example, black men are the only group of men that are known to be disrespected publicly by the women in the family, because the black community is a matriarchy, while every other community is a patriarchy where they come from a relatively stable background where their mothers and fathers grew up in the same household and they're pretty much stable, average, relatively stable, right? the black community is a matriarchy where the black woman is is the head, and the men are the subjects. And it's sad that, even in these westernized country of ours, such as South Africa, where we have we have homogenous multi-ethnic groups. Westernization has influenced black women negatively into hating and socially perceiving and outright disrespecting their own men, black men. Because black women universally have no respect for black men. Now, while black women think that they're sticking it to black men by being nasty and disrespectful towards black men, the joke's on black women, because on dating apps, black women are the least desired. And they have no other group of men to fall back on aside from black men. Now, it doesn't work the same in the reverse, because black men, technically, they have other options. Not as much, but technically black men can further, explore further horizons in terms of dating other groups of women. It's just not the same. We don't have the same abilities. Now, we've seen the rise of the hashtag passport bros movement, right? And of course, since black women are massively insecure, and even though black men aren't the first or the only group of men who are dating out, or how O'Shea Duke Jackson would put it, swirling, white men have been doing it since World War I, World War II, going over to Vietnam, having babies with the Asian babies, coming back to America. Same thing here in South Africa during World War II. There's some half, biracial children, half white, half Asian, that I went to high school with. Their fathers were involved in World War I and World War II, and the fathers are, the white, but their mothers are Asian, Taiwanese, Chinese, Vietnamese, what have you. Yeah. So it's not, black men aren't the first group of men to do this, but it's been done since the beginning of time. People have been immigrating and having other groups of women mixing. Maybe not as much, because 80% of people still date within their own tribe, granted. But it's only a problem when black men do it. I did a video about that Korean girl flat out disrespecting black men for their preferences. Black men, apparently, we're not allowed to have preferences. White men, since white men, kudos to them, they are at the top of the food chain. They have pretty much first dibs with any type of group of race of women, except for Persians, Arab women. Arab women tend to stick with their own, but they're the exception. But pretty much, white man can have any group of women he wants. But it's only a problem when black men start to date out. Now, coming back to, what Rob Wills refers to as the sexual id, the imprint, right? It applies to men as well, not just to women. It applies to men as well. Men will seek out the type of woman that is most receptive and most kind and respectful. Above all else, respect. Men value respect more than anything else. And unfortunately for black men, black women don't respect black men at all. Now, I'm not saying all black women. I'm not relax. I'm talking in general. So black men have said to themselves, no, listen, since men value respect, period, black men have said to themselves, we're going to date out. We're going to date other groups of women. And it's got less to do with race and westernized beauty standards. It's got more to do with femininity. Black men value femininity. Well, no. Black men, period, value femininity more than anything else. And they're going to pick those group of women that offer femininity, kindness, and submission and cooperation the most. But without being too long-winded, I don't want to make this video too long. A man's mother, the type of relationship he has with his mother, greatly determines the type of woman he will tend to go for. As you see, more and more black men are starting to date out because it's time to wake up. No longer are they trapped in, do it for the community. Stop it. We're men, we value respect. We want feminine, cooperative women, whether they're black, white, Asian, Taiwanese, alien like Freezer from planet from planet Vegeta or planet Namek, whatever. Men value femininity. Shout out to Rom Rolls, Uncle Rom, for those particular concepts. But anyway, thanks for watching for now. Cheers.